Hi everyone, I'm Karen Combs, and welcome to FlossTube number 3. Welcome again to FlossTube number 3. I'm coming to you from my Zoom studio. I'm getting ready to do a Zoom presentation with a quilt guild. And since I have all the lights and the cameras on, I thought I'm going to go ahead and do a FlossTube because I have a couple of hours before I need to meet with them. So that's why we're here. But coming up, we're going to try filming in my sewing room, which doesn't have all the professional lights and microphones and cameras. So we'll be maybe just using one camera. I'm not sure. We're going to test it out and see what you think. But I hope you enjoyed the pictures. Those are just some of the beautiful sunrises and sunsets we've had lately. Now, last week, and we live in Middle Tennessee, last week, it was beautiful. And I think it was Thursday. It was almost 80 degrees. It was beautiful. And so I spent most of the day outside in the garden. I have a small raised bed garden. If you go on my Instagram, you'll see some pictures of that. But I thought I'm going to do some cleanup. There's some things that need to be pulled up. Some things are still going. And so I spent several hours there, put some fresh material down in the walkway and different things like that. My husband was raking leaves and cutting some dead branches, things like that. Well, then Friday, the bottom dropped out and it's been winter ever since. I think it was 22 last night. It's supposed to start raining tonight, 36. So hopefully we won't get ice. But since I'm doing Zoom from home for work, driving isn't a problem, but for those that'll be on the road, I hope that we don't have any ice or snow. So I guess our beautiful fall weather looks like it's gone for a while, but that's all right because that just gives me more time to sit and stitch. So what we're going to look at today, I want to show you some works in progress, and then I'm going to show you some different frames that I've used and the projects I'm using it on. Do have some things what I'm going to start next, show you, and I'm not sure, maybe in January I will start something new. I've been working on 2 projects pretty steadily, so I'm probably going to keep up with that before I start something new. And we'll talk about some other things as we go along. I'm going to show you some things I've purchased. So let's get right into some of the work in progress. And when I move my hand, I am moving actually to a switchboard so I can show you a second camera. So if you're wondering why I'm reaching all the time, I'm just doing that switchboard. But this is, you've seen this. This is one of the projects I've been working on pretty steadily, Quaker Dwelling. And that is by Kathy Barrick. And I am doing it on Weeks Havana, which is it's kind of a deep olive. It's showing up pretty well there. I'm going to hold it up and then I'll put it under the camera to spread it out. So I actually took it off the frame this time so you can see the progress. So hold it up so you can see it. So I've got good part of the house done. I was working on the motifs this week. Let me put it under the camera so you can see it. So here it is. It really looks pretty on this Havana. And I'm just started with the mortar just a little bit, but I'm going to save that for when I'm, mindlessly stitching. But worked on this weekend. Back here, worked on this weekend, worked on that, did some more of the brick. So it's coming right along. And what I really enjoy about this pattern is you have 2 different things to work on. You've got the house which is a nice, big, beautiful house. And then you could switch over to the motif. So I've been going back and forth. So about the time you get tired of doing the house, you could switch to the Quaker motifs. So really enjoying that. I'll hold that up again, but I want to show you I am using NPI silk for that. And I did buy the silks and the pattern from Colorado Cross Stitcher, and she had included these floss cards with it. I'm not sure if she's still doing that, but I love these. So gotta have a little charm on there. But here's the, you can see the colors. So I know my quilts might be distracting. We'll go back to the close-up camera, you can still see that. But the frame that I have it on is this frame, and I will put the link in the description. But you've seen the scroll bars before in the frames, but this one, let me put it under the camera so you can see it. Rather than have to fit the fabric into a hole or sew it on, this has like a Q-snap holder. So I really like it. And in fact, I have several of them, and I like the fact that I can twist this and make it very tight. And I don't always use a frame like this, but look at how perfectly it fit this linen. I thought I'm going to use this frame for it. So I will put the link in the description, and you can get different lengths of the bars. You can also get different lengths of these. I think this one is 20 inches, but that is one of the works I have in progress. So I'm going to let you look at that while I lay this down out of the way. Do you all do that? Put a little bling on here. It's just fun. It's just fun. So this is one of the other, this, I don't use my needle, and say I have it parked back here. So this is one of the other projects I've been working on, Harriet Salt. And I am doing this on 56 count. And this is how much I've gotten done. I'll talk about this in just a minute, but I just got all of the alphabet done up to L and just starting on M. So I am almost halfway through the first line. And what I decided to do is on the first line, I'm going to do my initials in a deeper red. So what I'm using is a little Kohana bag, which I just got this a little while ago. So I put the silks in here. So I am using, for the lighter color, this is Swassifine, and it is $24.99 is the color. And on the darker red, I had 103. I did not have a darker red of the Swassifine, which is finer. So I went ahead and used what I had, which is a 103, and it's 335 is the color number. And I actually, because this is a little thicker, I like how it's kind of plumping up and showing off the highlighted letters. So I was going to switch to a Swassifine darker red, but I think now I may just keep it like this. I'm going to see if I can get this a little closer so you can see. There we go. See how the darker red is just plumped up just a little bit more. So I really like that. Now this little frame, and I'll put the link to that in the description as well. This is a 3-inch spring frame. Here it is. And I like the fact that it's small because this is a very fine count. And you can see this is a very big sampler. And will I do the whole thing? I don't know. I may, or I may just do part of it and then do part of this. I'm not sure. But I do have the linen to do the whole thing. But because it's so big, this little frame helps me because I am just focusing on just the little bit I'm working on instead of looking at all of the linen. So this little frame is 3 inches and it holds it very well. You noticed I was stitching in the well. That needle minder is just giving me fits right now. But stitching in the well, let me just come down here. I tried flipping it over and my silk kept getting caught here. So I'm stitching in the well and I'm finding I like it. And then when I flip it over to look at the back, it's a little easier to, run my threads under or whatever I need to do. So I am stitching in the well on this. So this is another one of my works in progress. This one is taking longer because it's a finer count, but I'm working on it a little bit each day. So actually, some letters have been going very fast. I was stuck on the K for a while. I had to take it out a few times and then I got going again on it. So that's one of the other things I'm working on. And I wanted to show you another frame that I was using with this. I got this I ordered it from the attic. Just looking to see if I could find the name. This is a Hartwick frame, I believe. It's wood. And this is about 7 inches. It's got the screw here that you can tighten it. But I like this too. And I like how I can hold it. And it just feels nice. It's just wide enough that I am not holding it so tightly that, after a while, this part of my hand hurts. So I am using this too, although I've been using this spring frame a little more. Now, here's a question that I have. Here, there's the logo. Yep. I think it's Hartwick Manor. I will put that in the description. But I just love the feel of it. I love the weight of it. It just fits my hand very nicely. But I did order, when I ordered this frame from the attic, when I ordered the silk and the linen and the chart, the Harriet Salt chart, I ordered some twill tape and I haven't put it on yet. So my question for any of you that have a wood frame like this, do you put the twill tape on and why? I have read a couple of different reasons. One is it holds it a little tighter, which I wasn't finding it a problem. So I thought, do I need it? Then I read something else that said the twill tape will help it from marring your linen. And I thought, well, okay. Is that the reason? I'm just curious. Those of you that have worked with it, please share your experience with it. I do love this frame. And if I need to put the twill tape on, I will. And that's on the inside part of the hoop. But let me know about that. Now I did, this is actually getting into a little bit of the things I purchased this week, but I did get some different silks from Hobby House. And for those of you that are new to stitching, I will put the links to the Attic's website, to Hobby House, anywhere I've purchased things, I'll put the link. Because that's one thing when I started watching FlossTube and people would talk about these wonderful shops. I got, what's the website? How do I get there? So I'll put that in there. But I did order some different silks, and these are all Swastika, because I was thinking, as I said, about making that a little darker, and I don't know how these will show up. This layout, I'm sorry for the crinkling. It's, you know, it's always hard to see on the website, but these looked pretty true to what was on the website. Now, maybe in the camera, you're thinking these all look the same. Let me zoom in a little bit more. You can see they're all just a little different. They're all a blue red, not an orange red. So I'm just not sure if I'm going to use them. I'll just show you some of the number. So you can see the numbers: 2524, 2648. This one's 2384. This one is 2631 and 109. Is that 103? There's the ones. I don't want to mix them up. These are the ones I'm using. You can see how these below me are just a little different. So I don't want to mix them up, but these are the ones I'm using. And these are the ones I purchased if I decided I wanted to, it's not necessarily change the light red, but if I wanted to change the dark. And I have some other red samplers I want to work on, so that, well, it's not a bad thing to have some of the beautiful silks. Let me just put these back. So that actually showed you a little bit of what I purchased, but I wanted to show you with the sampler. So let me move this. This is what I've been working on. Let me give you, let me just have you look inside my little Kohana bag there while I move things around. All right, so here's what I'm thinking of right now is what to start next. And like I said, I've been working on the Quaker dwelling pretty much every evening. And because the Harriet Salt is on such a fine linen, I tend to work on that in the day, here and there, because usually I'm working, because I still am teaching quilt classes and quilting and doing all that. So I'll steal an hour or so in the day, because I can sit by a nice window and get some sun, along with my mag eyes and my readers. But I find with all that, then really isn't a problem. Stitching on that is just slower. And I will tell you, once I leave that and go to the 40 count in Havana, wow, it seems giant. So, you know, it's just a matter of switching between the two. I wanted to mention one thing about when you're stitching. And I tend to do this, and it's not good. Do you find yourself, you know, stitching and you're looking at your stitching, looking and stitching, and you forget to look up? So what you need to remember to do is at least, this is what our optometrist told us, at least every 20 minutes, you need to look up and look away. So what I do is look out the window. So if I'm sitting near the window, I will look out the window. But I also found if I will stitch while I'm watching TV, as I'm pulling the thread, I'll look up and look at the TV screen, or I'll look further into the room. There's something about giving your eyes that option of looking at some other distance. Your eyes won't get as tired. So try to remember that, because I know, well, I don't know about you, but I need to wear my readers when I'm even looking at my phone. And if I do it without my phone, without my readers, and I'm looking at my phone, I look up and it's like, oh, I can't see anything. So I need to use my readers, but I also need to remember to look at different levels into the distance, not just close up all the time. So what to start next? And I'm going to talk about kitting a little bit because in my mind, I made a big mistake when I first started because I would buy the charts, I'd buy the linen, I'd buy all the needed floss, whether it would be DMC or some of the hand-dyed. I don't have much silk, just a couple of things you've seen. But I would put it all together, which that's not a problem, except I wasn't starting those. I was kitting them. And pretty soon I realized I was buying a lot of duplicates of the same linen, the same floss. So I'll show you what I've done with that. But first, I am going to show you a couple things I have kitted up, and I'm not sure what I'm going to start next in January, but I do have them in a project bag. So here's one of the things that I'm thinking of. Let me zoom back out. So you're probably familiar with this. This is Humming of the Bees by Blackbird. Love it. Of course, our last name is Combs, so anything with a beehive, Combs, beehive, I tend to like that. And I do have this one kitted. So it is kitted on Fiber on a Whim parchment, 40 count. So I do have a big piece of this. I won't be using all of it for this design, but I did put it all in here. This is a half yard. And then I do have, it's like I've got some weeks and some, see, the Gentle Arts. But these colors are just gorgeous. I don't have them on the floss drops yet. I just organized them so they're together. So that's one of the things that I'm thinking of starting in January is Humming of the Bees. That's one thing. The other thing I'm thinking of doing is also in another one of the Joyful Stitches project bags. And this one, I thought I was going to start this summer. So I've got everything here. Live on Little, Plum Street. I know you've seen that before. It's absolutely gorgeous. So I have, here's the linen that I have selected. And so I've even got my matching needle minder. I'm going to take that out of the plastic so it's not such a glare. Sorry for the wrinkle. So, of course, matching needle minder. And I'm trying to see if I can see which linen this is. I don't know. I'll have to put that in the notes. Let me see. I think I might have. This may be Hog Bristle 36. Looks like it. I think I did use that. And then I do have some of the silks. I'm sorry, some of the hand-dyed. I haven't got them together yet. I did purchase that to put everything on. There's some more of the hand-dyed. I think I was collecting everything, and then the DMC. So most of it is DMC with a little bit of Classic Color Works and Leeds Dye Works. So I've got that. I haven't got them on the floss drops yet. I do have some of the floss drops ready to use, or I may make some. And so I've got it partially kitted. So that's another one that I'm thinking of doing, but it's a big one, and I've been working on some big ones already, so I'm not sure if I'll start another big one in January. So let me have you look at that while I show you two other things that I'm thinking of. I said I didn't kit, and I really am not now. I took them all apart, but I did keep these kitted because I want to work on them pretty soon. So this one, don't mix anything up. This is Threadworks Primitive, and I just loved that little village with the snow. So I have that. It's called Christmas Tide, and I don't have. Well, let me change that. I'm going to say I don't have the threads, but I do because I took them out of the kit. And I'll tell you what I did with them in a minute. And I'm debating on the linen because it calls for 35 count cocoa by Weeks Dye Works, which is this. And this looks a little dark versus what's in the picture. So I'm going to lay the flosses out before I decide for sure if this is what I'm going to do. But you can see it calls for some Weeks Dye Works, some Gentle Art, and Classic Color Works. So I did have everything packaged up with this. But what I found, let me come back to me now. What I found is I was purchasing some of the same colors because I would purchase the chart and some linen and the floss, put it together in a kit. And then pretty soon I realized I got a lot of the same floss, like 2 or 3 or 4 of each one. And I thought, I'd rather spread it out, my purchase power, instead of getting 5 of the same thing. I'd rather get 5 different because I can always pull from my collection. So what I did is I took all my kits apart and I put them on rings. Now this is, come to the close-up camera again. This is a 3-inch, it's called dark nickel, but again, I'll put that in the description, ring that just comes apart. And then I have added a floss card and just some little bling there so that it looks pretty when it's hanging in my sewing room. But here I have, see, I've got like 5 apple cider, very popular color. So I put them all together. So now I'll know what I have before I start to order something. So these are all of the Gentle Arts that I have. So I'll show that a little more in depth when we look at my sewing room. But that I found is very handy. And what I'm using, where did I put my phone? I'm going to show you, let me grab my phone real quick. I'll let you look at these flosses while I grab my phone. I want to show you what app that I'm using that's made it so easy to keep track of what I have. So just let me look at those beautiful colors for a moment. Okay, the app is, go back to the, there it is, CrossStitch Plus is what it is. And when you go to it, you can put in your inventory. So you put in your charts, your threads, your linens. I don't have any beads, but you can add that in. So what I've done, it took me 2 or 3 days to take everything out of my kits, except for the few I've shown you, and put it in the app. But so for my threads, and you can see these are all the different threads that are available. Let's see. Just go to, since we're looking at Gentle Arts, I'll just go to that. I don't have all these are just what are in them. So it will show you sampler threads or wool. These are the colors. that I have. So if I need to add more, you just hit the plus sign and you can add in the colors. And if it's bold, means you don't have it. If it's grayed out, it means you do. So I talked a little bit about that on the FlossTube in the car. I hope you found that fun. But that's what I've been doing, is putting everything in there. So when I order something, I can look at my inventory and see if I have that chart, if I have the thread, if I have the linen. So that is called CrossStitch Plus. I think there's a cross stitch, but I've got the plus one. So these are some of the gentle art. So this is one of the things I'm thinking of starting, because it's a little smaller than what I've been doing. So I might do that. And I just love these little houses. It looks like a Shaker village. So get it where you can see it. I just love it. So I might start that. I know I said in January, but it's all right. It'll be ready for next Christmas. Or I might start this one, which is by Willow Hill Sampling. And this one is Live Simply. Simply Live. And this is what I've pulled so far for the linen. This is 32 count Belfast linen. And this one is by XStitch Design. This one is light hazelnut. I thought that's just really perfect for that. So that's light hazelnut. And the floss, I've already got this set up. So I didn't do floss drops this time. What I did is I put this on my copier scanner, copied this, glued it down on board, just kind of like cardstock, but I got it Hobby Lobby. And then I put the symbols and the names of the colors. You see, this doesn't have many colors. So I'm thinking it's going to look really pretty against that light hazelnut. But there's my thread. So it's got it all. So that, instead of floss drops, I decided to do that on just a card. So it kind of coordinates with this. And then I put all of the tops of these threads in here. So when I finish, because this won't use, I don't think, much of the floss. So I can put it back on its cards and then put it back on my rings. So I may start that one soon in January. I'm not sure yet. And of course, it's got a little beehive there. So those are the things I'm thinking of starting. So in one of the future floss tubes, I will show you, we'll go in my sewing room and I'll actually do the floss tube from there. Won't have the two cameras, I don't think, unless we set it up. But, you know, just switch it up a little bit to have me in my sewing room. But the question then I ask myself is, should I kit or should I not kit? And for right now, I only have a few things kitted. And then in that app I showed you, I will put a note saying, yes, I have the floss already. It's on one of the rings, or yes, I have the linen and it's in my basket where I keep the linen. So I know that I've purchased it. So I thought that way, if I decide to use the floss on another project, I have it. Or if I decide to use the linen on something else, I know what I have. So curious your experience. Do you kit everything up? Do you not kit it up? What do you do? I started kitting everything and then I decided not to. I just have a few things kitted. The rest I have kind of ready to grab. We'll look at that in another one, another floss tube. So I wanted to show you some of the things that I have purchased recently. I know some people call it haul. You know, it's our supplies. It's the things we're going to use. So you could call it haul or just purchases. Haven't purchased much, but I did purchase a couple of things that were a little bit more expensive that I've been kind of saving toward. And one of them, those of you will know the box as soon as I show it. So I've been reading and seeing about these beautiful Kohana scissors. And I think it was Halloween. I was looking at Instagram because we had no trick-or-treaters. Even though we had our lights on and we had candy, we had no trick-or-treaters. So I was looking at Instagram and I saw that Sherry on Colorado Cross Stitcher had posted a few things and she mentioned that she had scissors. And I went, okay, now's my time because it's hard to get them. So I got a red pair. And I absolutely love that beautiful point. It's beautiful lacquer. They fit my hand well. I love these. So I am so glad that I had saved for them and purchased them. So that was one of my purchases in the last, maybe last month. Then I did some purchases at Hobby House, which you saw the silks, but I also purchased a couple of pieces of linen. So this one is Fiber on a Whim 40 count latte. I got a back order. Sorry. So I'll take it out of paper so you can see it. So it is really pretty, kind of a light green and gray. I'm not sure where I'll use it yet, but I really think the color is beautiful. So I purchased that. And then mix these up. The other thing that I purchased linen-wise is 36 count. This is Tabby Cat. And it is their new Lollybrook linen. And this is gorgeous. I may change some of my things I was thinking of using to this. This is just stunning. So these are kind of a gray brown. It's just a touch of kind of a fawn, kind of a, not really taupe, but it's just, this table's white, so it's white gray. You can kind of see the color. It's just beautiful. So I purchased those two pieces of linen. So this one is Lollybrook. And then I did purchase this from 123 Cross Stitch. This is the new Merry Christmas Wishes by Kathy Barrick. They do not have the linen or the floss in stock. So I have put a notification on my wish list to let them to email me when it comes in stock. So I really think that's beautiful. That is it's calling for, let's see, it was done on 40 count broad walk from Color and Cotton, and it uses Gloriana silk, but it's only got 2 colors. So maybe, no, maybe just 2. So I thought if it's just 2, I'll do silk. I do love how that feels. But it also has the option of the weeks dye work or NPI or DMC. So you could do it in any of those. Yes, just 2 colors. So I thought that's beautiful. I don't know when I'll start on that, but I just love the simplicity of it. It just really is pretty. So those were my purchases. I have one more that I purchased on eBay. Now, some of you will know what this is. I believe this is a queen frame. It's in really good shape. I mean, the cork is in really good shape. Just looking at it. It's solid. You know, the metal has a little patina, but it's not rusted. So any of you that have used a queen frame, what do you think? It does not say queen frame, but it does say patent, made in the USA. And those of you that have used the queen frame, how do you find it using it with the linen? Does it stain, or I was thinking of putting it on something not linen, just piece of fabric to see, but I do think I'm going to enjoy doing this, using it. So this just tightens down. So I don't know, I think that's about 5 or 6 inches here. So I did purchase that. So a couple purchases and then some floss that I talked about in my fun little video, FlossTube in the car with coffee. Any of you that have seen that, is it Netflix, Amazon Prime? I'm not sure. It's another show in a car with coffee. And when I was going to get coffee after dropping our dog off at the groomers, I thought, I had just thought about purchasing from the wish list and when things come back in stock and what to do about that. So that's what I talked about. It's only about 5 or 6 minutes. So let me know what you think about that. Well, let me see. We've just checking my notes here. I think I've covered everything I was going to talk to you about today. And let me know those questions. One of the questions was, do you have that wood frame? Do you use twill tape? If you do, why? I'm just curious. I'm not new to stitching, because as you saw in my first FlossTube, I've been stitching for decades, but a lot of these products are new, which I adore. So I'm curious your experience with the twill tape. Is that more for embroidery or cross stitch or both? Is it necessary? What's your experience with that? What do you think about kitting? What's your experience with that? And as we've talked about before, this is fun. And there's not a wrong answer, because if it works for you, it works. And that's it. It's just like with quilting. When you are quilting, there's many ways to do things. And then you're piecing, cutting things out. There's different ways to do it. Some are easier for people than other ways. It just depends on how you work. So I'm curious about your situation. So I want to thank you for viewing, for your comments. If you like the video, subscribe and hit the like button if you liked the video. Comment. I love reading your comments. It really does lift my spirits to read them. And I'll probably be coming to you again after the new year. Probably won't do another one in December, but you never know. I might be in the car with my coffee and think about something else to talk to you about. So I might do that. But one exciting bit of news that I am so excited about is I'm going to be going to the Sampler Symposium at the Attic in January. So I am so excited about that. So I will probably do a little video if they allow me to. We'll go in the store and show you the store. I'll certainly take pictures and post some pictures from the symposium. And after the symposium, I'll show you the different projects we worked on. This is new. Usually I am the teacher at the symposium. So this time I'm going to be to the student. So I get to sit and absorb all that knowledge from the teachers and stitch on the projects. So I'm very excited about that. So I think that's it for today. And until next time, happy stitching and be well.